You think you've got a tough month coming up? Try being a Republican lawmaker. According to political analyst, March could be the most important month for Republicans on Capitol Hill in a decade. And here's why. As you know, Republicans now control the White House and both the House and Senate for the very first time since 2006. And on the plate in March, some big ticket items. They have to pass a budget. They plan to overhaul the entire tax code. As if that weren't enough, they also plan to repeal and replace Obamacare. Each of those would be very difficult alone, but can Republicans really tackle all three at once? Let me ask Tom Bevan, co-founder and publisher of Real Clear Politics. Tom, welcome to the show.
Great to be with you, Kennedy.
So let's talk a little bit about this. Why is March the most important month in 10 years?
Well, look, I mean, Congress is back in session. They've got about a 6-week period here where they're going to try and get all this stuff done. And you mentioned the list is long, and it's not just little stuff, it's big stuff. And Congress is sort of like think about it as a tube, right? Only so much can fit through the tube at one time. And when you have these giant things that you're trying to force through the tube, oftentimes they'll get rejected if they're too big. And you look at repealing Obamacare, tax reform, these are huge items. And you know, Republicans don't have they're not all on board with total unification around one particular program at this point, so it's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough.
They're not greasing the tube, Tom. That's exactly what you're saying. So let's break it down. What do you think is most important? What do you think has to be tackled first in order to ensure job security for particularly Senate Republicans?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, obviously, the president has made Obamacare repeal one of his priorities. And look, every Republican in Congress has run on Obamacare repeal over the last, 2, 4, 6, 8 years. So that's something that their constituents are expecting of them. But when it gets down to brass tacks, the question is whether there's a plan that they can unify behind. And it's not at all clear that they've gotten to that point yet. But that's got to be, I think, priority number one. Tax reform is another thing. I mean, if you look around, businesses in particular, Trump says he's going to grow the economy. He's going to grow jobs, particularly for the Rust Belt. And that's one of the things they've got to get done if they're going to jumpstart the economy.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Tax is absolutely critical. Obamacare, very complex, very emotional. Tax is a little bit of a harder sell. And I know Paul Ryan and some congressional Republicans are just fetishizing, tough word to say now that I think about it, the border tax, the BAT, the BAT. And they're going to beat fellow Republicans over the head with that bat until they get on board that gravy train. I don't necessarily like that at all, and I think that it is a hard sell. Why not just alter the corporate tax structure instead of trying to throw the whole thing out for this border tax?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, look, there's the border tax issue. I mean, trade's another one where it makes Republicans and infrastructure. We just heard Sean Spicer mention, Trump said today he's going to do this $1 trillion infrastructure plan. That makes a lot of conservatives in Congress, Republicans, very nervous, especially those when Trump says he's not going to tackle, he's not going to make any changes to Social Security and Medicare. You've got a lot of folks in Congress, Republicans, who are concerned about the debt, and it doesn't look like Trump is necessarily on the same page. And so tax reform is one of those issues where I think they're going to have to find common ground. They're going to have to find something that enough folks can rally around. And look, they don't have a big enough majority in the Senate as Obama did when he first took office. It's not close to filibuster-proof at this point. And so they're going to have unification on the Republican caucus, then hopefully try and peel off some of those red state Democrats who were up for re-election in 2018.
Well, right now they don't have it, at least on 2 of the 3, on taxes and repealing and replacing the ACA. They've all got to get on the same page, if for no other reason than to allay the fears of those nervous voters who are showing up at town halls demanding answers to these questions that Republicans simply can't answer at this point.
That's right. I mean, look, it's a tough spot, right? The president's only been in office for 30 days, and yet there's already clamoring for why haven't you gotten this done? Why haven't you moved on this? Why haven't you moved on that? And again, big issues, complex issues that need to have buy-in from, the vast majority of the Republican caucus. So, but again, this window's only going to last for a certain period of time, and you can already see some people getting upset.
We're running out of time. I want to ask you quickly, are you a gambling man?
At times.
Nice. So what kind of odds do you give the Republicans for passing all 3 of these, or at least getting the ball rolling in March?
Oh, they'll get the ball rolling. I mean, passing all 3, I would say less than 10%. 10%, maybe 5%. I mean, these are massive bills. They're not going to get it done in March.
All right, well, we'll see if there is an OTB facility who will take that bet. Tom Bevan, Real Clear Politics, thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you.